The most unbelievable hour of television begins right now on Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Would you believe? A tragic accident ate away Jonas Scott's stomach. Now he literally has to push his food through his body with his fingers.
I'm the only one living like this.
Valentino Losoro doesn't just cut his client's hair, he claws it off. Watch as this real-life scissor hands goes for 3 haircuts at once. This kid's about to snort milk up his nose and spew it out his eye.
This cow's got nothing on me.
How far can he squirt in tonight's unbelievable act? Plus, people pay him money just to take a picture of his face. You'll see why when he turns around for Ripley's. And get a load of this. The swimsuit pieced together from beloved pets. Unbelievable? Believe it. On Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Welcome to Ripley's. Now, the thing about some stories is that along with being unbelievable, they also make you appreciate what you have. And I guarantee you've never seen anything like this next story. Jonas Scott is the only man on Earth who has neither a stomach nor an esophagus. And the way he eats is truly unbelievable. Throughout his life, 43-year-old Jonas Scott was always a man with a hearty appetite.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In fact, Jonas had no problem packing away the food until the day a tragic accident destroyed his stomach, leaving doctors no choice but to attempt a risky, one-of-a-kind surgery. And Jonas is now forced to literally push his food through his body with his fingers.
They took everything else out, and I'm the only one living like this.
Jonas's incredible ordeal began in 1988. The factory worker was left near death after being exposed to an industrial cleaning fluid that literally ate away his insides.
There are many occasions when the esophagus and the stomach is so badly damaged by these caustic fluids that the only surgical alternative you have is to remove them.
And that's just what doctors did, removing everything but a portion of the small intestine. But the surgery came at a costly price. Even though Jonas had survived a rigorous emergency operation, his quality of life was almost intolerable. In fact, the daily pain was so intense, he almost gave up hope.
I thought I was gonna die. I really thought I was really gonna die, but I didn't. But I felt like it. I felt like dying because it was hurting so bad.
Left confined to a bed, Jonas had to be fed intravenously because without a stomach, Jonas had absolutely no way of digesting regular food.
When those organs are damaged, you have no way of getting food from the throat down into the intestine, and clearly you would die of malnutrition.
After 3 years of never swallowing a single solid bite of food, Jonas's body began to grow dangerously weak.
As good as the science is in artificial nutrition, it's not as good as eating regular food.
To try and give Jonas back a somewhat normal life, a team of 14 specialists from around the country convene at Salt Lake City's Veterans Hospital. They begin a staggering 36-hour life-or-death operation, attempting to connect the remaining 7 feet of Jonas's small intestine directly to the base of his throat so he could once again eat solid food.
The risks are that the transplanted organ may not take. You may finish the surgery and the entire organ transplant may die on you.
But in an experimental procedure that stuns medical science, surgeons are successful. And Jonas is on the road to recovery.
I just woke up and wanted that tube from being out of my throat. And then when they took that tube out of my throat, first thing I did was start singing.
But would the operation really work? Would Jonas finally be able to feed himself? He'd have to learn to eat in a whole new way. Amazingly, after some trial and error, and sometimes even choking, Jonas mastered his technique. Believe it or not, after Jonas thoroughly chews and swallows his food, he must then use his fingers to push every bite from his throat down into his small intestine. There, the intestine acts like a snake, squirming to digest his food. And without a normal stomach to slow it down, food passes through Jonas very quickly. Too fast, in fact, for it to get completely processed. So to make sure that his body gets the nutrients he needs to survive, Jonas must literally eat all day long, as many as 12 times a day.
I start at 12:30. I don't stop till 10:30 at night, and then I'll go to bed.
A living miracle. Today, Jonas savors every single bite of food that he takes.
I've come a mighty long ways, and I feel like a miracle. I feel like a miracle person.
Because Jonas doesn't have a stomach, he can't store food like the rest of us, and he never feels that sensation of being full. Now, there's a gentleman in Florida who cuts hair for a living. He got his inspiration from Edward Scissorhands. Take a look.
Arriving on the job, Valentino Lazaro looks like any other hairstylist. Until he goes to work. Because believe it or not, when Valentino cuts hair, he does it with these bizarre razor-sharp blades attached to each of his fingers, becoming a virtual hair-cutting machine.
First of all, they look scary, you know. Maybe they resemble like Kruger hands or something like that. They give me these kind of things like, you look like a Kruger.
And today, he's about to demonstrate his lock-chopping skills by simultaneously doing the work of 3 barbers in only half the time. His talented hands have made Valentino an accomplished musician, as well as an award-winning hairstylist. And though he's been cutting hair for over 30 years, it wasn't until he saw the movie Edward Scissorhands that true inspiration struck.
I saw him going like this. I said, whoa, can that be possible? Really?
And the claws were born. 8 razor-sharp, finger-sized snippers with blades so sharp and dangerous, a safety feature had to be built in to prevent the claws from slicing through the skin. The revolutionary blades are a result of a year and a half of development and thousands of dollars worth of research. Valentino invented them to do the work of 8 pairs of scissors in a single swipe.
Claws, what it does is almost like you beat him an egg, and it fluffs up. So when I cut a hair, the way I beat the hair with the claws, it fluffs the hair up.
After slipping on his 8 slicing appendages, Valentino begins clawing hair to the beat. It may not look like Valentino is doing much, but the piles of hair falling at the model's feet tell the real story.
I was thinking how much he was going to take off. I just felt the chunks flying off.
Valentino says the secret to his unique hairstyling technique is keeping a fast pace.
It's actually designed to work with speed. That's why I work fast, because if you go slow, you probably really cut a lot of hair, you know. But if you go with the speed, you cut less hair.
And in less than 8 minutes, half the time of a single haircut, all 3 of these ladies have a new do. Here's the before, and of course, the after.
It wasn't like a regular haircut. It was exciting and fast, and it was a lot of fun.
He was caressing the hair, and it was just falling off.
Potential customers should be prepared. The claw look isn't cheap. Getting sheared and sliced by these state-of-the-art razors will set you back $200.
The customer gave me this look on their face like, what is that? What are you doing? And what's the funny thing is at the end you get this wow.
By the way, Valentino has never had an accident during one of his haircuts. But there's a first time for everything.
Next, if it moves, Mark Hogg will eat it. Meet the real-life survivor who'll swallow nearly anything. Plus, a heart attack nearly killed him the last time he tried it. How long can this world champion hold his breath underwater? And can Warren McDonald climb thousands of feet without any legs? That and more when Ripley's returns. Amazing stories and unbelievable people. Ripley's Believe It or Not. The small Ethiopian village of Mercy is home to a people whose culture is rich in tradition. But one custom is so shocking, the government has tried to outlaw it. Believe it or not, the Mercy women insert clay plates in their lower lips, painfully stretching them to 10 inches in diameter.
Once they remove the lip plate, their bottom lip, especially if it's a large lip plate, kind of dangles down almost below their chin like a very big rubber band.
Once a young woman hits puberty, the process of inserting the lip plate begins. First, a small hole is cut into the lower lip. Then, as gruesome as it sounds, the tribesmen actually use a chisel to remove the bottom teeth, making room for the plate. Next, a small disc is put into the girl's lip. Over time, the size of the plates are increased to make the lip larger. It's believed that the Mercy women participate in this unusual practice in order to attract a husband. The bigger the lip plate, the more a man will pay to marry her, and as many as 50 heads of cattle are paid for the woman with the largest lower lip. Believe it or not.
If you think stretching out one lip would be painful, take a look at this. The women of the Ubangi tribe in West Africa have a double lip plate. Whew. Now, there's a man named Mark Hogg who will never starve. His army training taught him how to survive by eating things that most of us would find grotesque. But Mark considers them gourmet.
Mark Hogg is an outdoorsman who enjoys the simple things in life, like a hike through the woods or a little lakeshore fishing. And if the fish aren't biting, no problem, because believe it or not, Mark is.
My name is Hogg. Everybody kidding me around, a hog can eat anything. So I've taken up my name and I kept my reputation.
Mark prides himself on being able to find a meal anywhere, in any environment. A skill he learned almost 30 years ago during survival training for the Army's famous 82nd Airborne.
We were out on a survival course in Panama. They taught us how to eat vegetation, bark, bugs, worms, a monkey, snake. Everything was protein. Any environment that's warm, you should be able to survive.
So now, when Mark gets hungry, his next meal is as close as a walk in the park. The trick is knowing where to look. You never know what delicacies you'll find under those nearby rocks or by digging through dead trees. And after that, if Mark still feels hungry, there's everyone's favorite, worms. And while any survivalist can find food in the wilderness, Mark has discovered that some of his favorite delicacies can be had right in town, at the local bait shop.
All right, lunchtime. Oh, there's one. Looks great. How you doing? Want to try one of these worms?
Mark enjoys giving survival seminars and will happily share his knowledge anytime, anywhere.
This is what they call a night crawler. They've got 82% protein. They're better for you than chicken and tuna fish. You can clean them up, and there's no taste, no smell, and just slide one down like this.
And he especially enjoys teaching survival skills to children.
Now, I teach most kids, you don't pick up any kind of bug to eat. You better find the bug that's right for you if you're going to survive. And you only do it when you survive. I need some waxworms and night crawlers, please.
Okay, sir. With all the crunchy, slimy, and, let's face it, repulsive things Mark can eat, there's still one type of food he can't quite stomach.
I'm not fond on raw fish. Great, thank you. I don't like to eat sushi. Just catching it.
And while many people would be turned off by Mark's unusual high-protein diet, Mark's girlfriend, Holly, is just fine with it.
It doesn't bother me to watch him eat night crawlers. When he eats grub worms, it doesn't bother me either. It doesn't bother me when he eats minnows. Or it doesn't really bother me when he eats anything, really.
In fact, watching them eat, it appears these two may have been made for each other.
Now, Mark is a fast eater as well, with a unique ability to slurp down 100 night crawlers in just 30 seconds. Don't go away.
Next, it started as a tropical storm, then turned into a creepy, foamy nightmare for this coastal town. Plus, what's this guy's unbelievable act?
Believe it or not, this muck is gonna go up my nose and squirt out my eye.
Why do dog lovers from around the country send this woman their beloved pet's fur?
California, Oklahoma, Georgia.
So she can spin it into swimsuits and sweaters. The people who wear their pets. Next on Ripley's. You're watching Ripley's Believe It or Not.
How long can a human being hold their breath? Well, if you can stay underwater longer than this next guy, Ripley's wants to hear from you immediately.
Close to 75% of the Earth is covered with water, uncharted territory that few ever brave to explore. And most who do must rely on scuba gear to breathe. But freediver Andy Lasauce doesn't need an air tank because he can hold his breath underwater longer than anyone else in the world. While the average person can only last about a minute, this 58-year-old grandfather is going to attempt to hold his breath for more than 5 minutes. And he's doing it without the safety of backup oxygen.
Being underwater is something like freedom, and most of the time when you can choose it, it's also beauty.
Andy has been holding his breath for years. At a young age, he discovered he could stay underwater longer than other kids. Later in life, this real-life Aquaman found out he had unusually large lungs. Where normal adult male lungs can hold about 4.8 liters of air, Andy's lung capacity is nearly double, over 9 liters. And although he holds more freediving records than anyone in the world, throughout his 8,000 dives, Andy's had his share of scares.
If you go for too long dives, you can black out that, and sometimes after you get out of the water, you can get out, say hello, and...
One of those scary moments was even captured on this actual home video. With his wife and spotter at his side, Andy was trying to set a new record, when suddenly, the lack of oxygen sent him into cardiac arrest. Andy is quickly pulled from the water. Clearly dazed and disoriented, he is extremely lucky to have survived.
That's why we always dive 2 or 3 persons together. Always. You must never be alone in the water. Never. Even in your bathroom. Never. Except if you want to die.
Here at the Ripley's Aquarium in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, Andy will test the waters once again alongside a tank full of sharks and stingrays. And although these sharks are not man-eaters, they have been known to nip at intruders. There's also another obstacle you can't see. The frigid water is at least 30 degrees colder than the comfortably warm Caribbean seawater Andy is used to diving in.
Cold water is something, if it's too cold, you shiver. That means you burn oxygen. And it becomes difficult very, very early.
Regardless of the risks involved, Andy gears up for the challenge. To give you an idea of how difficult it is to hold your breath underwater, we've decided to send another veteran freediver down with Andy to see how long he can make it. As an anxious crowd looks through the aquarium, both divers take their last breaths and head straight into the water. At first, everything seems to be fine. Then, the lack of oxygen begins to take its toll on one of the men. Within a minute and a half, the second diver can't take it anymore. He is forced to fight his way to the surface for air.
I don't know how he could stand being down there that long. My lungs were bursting, and he was down there way after I was. He's incredible.
Ripley's will check back on Andy in roughly 30 seconds as this real-life Aquaman pursues his latest underwater challenge.
While Andy continues holding his breath, we'll move on to this next story. Earthquakes in California, hurricanes in Florida, tornadoes in the Midwest, and flooding along the Mississippi. No matter where you live, there's always the threat of a natural disaster. Well, one seaside town can add a new threat to the natural disaster roster. Some call it a Mother Nature latte with extra foam. I just call it really strange.
July 15th, 2000. The South American country of Uruguay is engulfed by a strange substance, a mysterious breathing foam, leaving coastal towns looking like one giant unfinished car wash.
I think anyone, given the phrase, here's a town covered with foam, would say, I need to see that before I totally believe it.
The strange tale all began with a little bit of bad weather. Along the coastline here, storms are not uncommon, but soon it began to take a very strange and unexplainable twist. Within hours, it had become a truly surreal scene. Dr. Sidney Perkowitz is the author of the book Universal Foam and the leading expert on the strange phenomenon referred to as sea foam.
I've seen it off the rocky coast of California, but never anything that had this kind of overall magnitude and impact. It even surprised me. Supposedly I'm some kind of foam expert, but this blew my mind.
The unbelievable amount of foam was smothering everything from people to cars to streets, even entire houses. But what could possibly be causing it?
My guess is it's really ordinary sea foam, except that the molecules that bind it together, that make it stronger, last longer, were different. Maybe the ocean was polluted at that point.
This huge rolling mass of Mother Nature's shaving cream stretched across 250 miles of shoreline. After almost an entire week, the foam finally dissipated and normal life returned to the bewildered citizens. And although this sea foam is gone, it certainly won't be forgotten anytime soon.
The winds were so strong during the storm that sea foam was reportedly found 2 miles inland. Now let's go back to Aquaman, who's still holding his breath.
Andy Lasauce has been pushing the very limits of human endurance, being submerged underwater for 4.5 minutes without supplemental oxygen. The average person would have suffered brain damage by now. Despite the ice-cold water, Andy tries not to lose his concentration. He remains calm and determined as a crowd of people look on in amazement. It is a truly remarkable feat. But as the 5-minute mark draws near, Andy begins to tire. Desperately trying to maintain his composure, but unable to take it anymore, he reluctantly gives in and at 5 minutes and 3 seconds breaks the water surface, gasping for air. An amazing accomplishment, one that even Andy himself is thrilled with.
It has been difficult, but I wanted to do it, so I fight it quite a long time. And this is hard.
There are more unbelievable stories right after this.
Next, a horrifying catastrophe cost this mountain climber his legs.
Oh, I cried myself to sleep.
Now he's back with legs of steel. Watch him try to scale the world's most wicked rock face. Plus, this milkman goes for an eye-squirting record. And they call Luis Aguero the ultimate metalhead. Find out why he won't stop sticking rings in his face. It's all ahead on Ripley's. Jim Cheon is a man who's definitely got milk. You could even say Jim is obsessed with it. But it isn't the taste of milk Jim craves. In fact, he rarely even drinks it. So what exactly does Jim do with milk?
Believe it or not, this milk is gonna go up my nose and squirt out my eye.
Jim is the pride of Milford, Pennsylvania, where he alone has perfected the art of milk squirting. He first learned he had this amazing talent as a child. One day while swimming underwater, Jim found that he could blow bubbles out of his eye sockets.
Jim, can I have some milk in my coffee?
Soon Jim was blowing more than bubbles. He was snorting milk up his nose and squirting it out of his eye, hitting any target he could find. The milk moves up his nose and into a passageway known as the nasolacrimal duct that is normally used to drain tears. But of course, Jim has learned to reverse the flow.
I actually suck it up my nose, hold my nose, and like I'm going to pop my ears, it just squirts out of my eye.
Ever since perfecting his art, Jim has been squirting milk for anyone who'll watch. He even prides himself on being able to squirt further than the local dairy cows.
The cow's got nothing on me.
Today, he'll attempt to squirt farther than ever before. Jim and his friends have gathered at their favorite hangout to witness this unbelievable act. What Jim does is very dangerous. The duct the milk flows through is extremely delicate. Any remaining milk left in the passageway can cause a serious bacterial infection. So please, don't try this at home. He begins by snorting roughly half an ounce of milk up his nose as he prepares to go the distance. Using precise muscle control and a buildup of air pressure in the nasal cavity, the milk begins to blow. Amazingly, he does it. Spewing a stream a stunning 9 feet 7 inches, Jim Cheon breaks his previous record by an unbelievable 3 feet. A truly remarkable and messy accomplishment.
If you ask most mountain climbers, they'll tell you that leg strength is one of the most crucial elements for getting to the peak. But don't tell that to Warren McDonald. World-class athlete Warren McDonald is literally taking his life in his hands as he attempts the unthinkable. A 30-day journey to the top of Australia's treacherous Federation Peak. And he's doing it despite the fact he has no legs.
If I die out there, then it just proves that I wasn't good enough.
Warren, an environmentalist, has made a career of climbing and backpacking through Australia's rugged backcountry. But in April 1997, a tragic accident almost cost Warren not just his freedom, but his life. He was out with a friend on what would be a week-long camping trip. The two were following a small, dried-out riverbed up a steep mountainside when Warren heard a noise that he'll never forget.
I'd stepped across the creek, which was only a few feet wide, and just started to climb this rock face when I heard the first crack, and it was that piece of rock breaking away.
Before he could react, Warren's legs were pinned by a sliding and massive one-ton boulder. Amazingly, Warren was alive and conscious, but the pain in his shattered limbs was unbelievable.
Things got pretty frantic at that point. I mean, we were both pushing, trying to budget, trying to move it off me. I was in a hell of a lot of pain.
With no way to signal for help, the men had no choice. Warren's friend set off on a day-long trip back for help. And just when it seemed things couldn't get worse, it started raining. The once dry creek bed was now filling with water.
When it got up around my waist, I thought, well, hey, you know, if he's not back by this afternoon, that's it. I'm gone.
Late the second day, just as he was giving up hope, Warren heard the second sound that he'll never forget, the distant hum of a helicopter. Within minutes, paramedics landed and went to work. After stabilizing Warren, special hydraulic jacks were used to remove the slab, one painful millimeter at a time. Finally free, Warren was airlifted to the hospital, where he would get the tragic news.
When the surgeon came in and told me that he was going to have to amputate both my legs, you know, I just started crying then, and I pretty much cried myself to sleep.
But Warren was not ready to give up yet. And during his recovery, he heard about a company offering a special line of customized prosthetic limbs. Made of carbon composite, the same material used to make airplane wings.
The socket has to fit very, very well, or you're not going to have any $6 million man running out there.
The precision mechanics of his revolutionary new legs allowed Warren to move in a way that would have been impossible just a few years ago. Soon, he was back walking, and swimming, and even biking, too.
I don't normally see myself as disabled unless I'm looking for a good parking spot.
But with all the things he could do, Warren's dream was to climb again. Moving slowly at first, he gradually gained confidence in his new legs and in himself. Warren is now ready to scale Federation Peak. A 28-day hike ending in a 2-day climb that tests the abilities of even the best able-bodied climbers. Treacherous weather conditions and the distance from civilization have accounted for numerous deaths on Federation Peak. But Warren and a group of close friends begin the dangerous hike into Tasmania's southwest wilderness. Contending with flooded rivers, waist-deep mud, and hailstorms, the group pushes forward. After hiking almost 26 miles into the Australian bush, Warren and his team are ready to tackle the almost vertical face. Relying on arm strength alone, Warren skillfully pulls himself up the cliff. A fall at this height would be deadly. Summoning the strength for the final few feet, he's done it.
All right! I got a kick out of getting up into the mountains when I had 2 legs, and the satisfaction I get out of doing it now on prosthetics is just, it's tenfold.
Ripley's has discovered a miracle fabric that feels like cashmere, looks like wool, repels water, and is already in millions of homes across the country. Bet you can't guess what it is.
Soft bikini. But these seemingly normal knittables aren't what they appear. That's because this unique and very costly clothing line isn't made using traditional sheep's wool. Believe it or not, the source of this yarn is the hair of the dog. Colette Wilson and her husband Bill live in Kitchener, Ontario. Their pride and joy are their pets, 3 Great Pyrenees, a huge breed of dog known for their thick coats.
Magellan is our male. He's 2.5 years old. Jasmine is 2, and a lovely female, Blossom, is 6. And she is what we consider our house dog.
And while they love their dogs, the constant shedding was a problem. But 4 years ago, Colette, whose passion is knitting, was hit with an idea. So she began collecting big mounds of hair every time she gave one of her shaggy dogs a trim. Then, using a foot-operated spinning wheel, she began turning the hair into yarn. From there, it's ready for Colette to begin knitting. Eventually, word got around about Colette's doggy-inspired apparel, and Colette's hobby slowly turned into a business. Orders began flooding in from pet owners all over the country. They wanted their pet fur turned into clothing too.
This is just some of the hair that people have sent to me. This is from California, Oklahoma, Georgia. It's been sent to me with the intention of having something made to remember a special pet.
It takes about 2 pounds or 7 sheddings of dog hair to knit just one sweater from the soft, furry fabric called chien gora, named after the French word chien, for dog. It can be dyed any color, and since it's warm as a dog's thick fur, one of these hat, scarf, and sweater sets can come in handy on those chilly winter walks. And while we all love our dogs, we don't necessarily want to smell like them.
Your dog hair item will smell no more like a wet dog when it gets wet than a woolen sweater smells like a wet sheep.
In fact, Colette has even knitted a special dog hair bikini. So for all you dog owners out there, remember, it's not enough to simply walk your dog anymore. Now, real animal lovers are wearing them too.
Next, the man who's really turning heads, poking his entire face full of holes. Find out why he did the unthinkable. And this used to be someone's pet over 2,000 years ago. Ripley's uses modern technology to reveal the ancient secrets inside this mummified cat when we delve into the Ripley's vault. You're watching Ripley's Believe It or Not.
There's a particular tourist attraction in Cuba getting a lot of attention. It's not the historical architecture, nor the tropical beauty of this island nation. No, it's this man, Luis Aguero. This 37-year-old has got more than 300 piercings, and all of them are on his face. Luis grew up in Havana, Cuba, and considers himself a craftsman by trade, but his real passion is his desire to be different. So when he turned 30, unbelievably, he literally started piercing himself.
La gente me dice que está loco, está arrebatado, ¿verdad? Sí, soy diferente de los demás, por la argolla.
His friends and family call him Ringhead for obvious reasons. He has 81 rings in each ear, 20 rings in his tongue, 8 long skewers through his cheeks, and 2 through the bridge of his nose. most of which Luis has performed himself. And doing your own piercing is much more painful.
Cuando penetro la aguja, sí me duele un poco más.
Since he began piercing 7 years ago, Luis has averaged 45 new holes every year, saving his money for the medical skewers that are hard to come by in Cuba. And because of the pain, he rarely takes the rings or skewers out of his face. Luis says that he's always been concerned with hygiene. He has regular medical checkups to make sure that there is no infection, and he must clean his face twice a day with antiseptic. Despite his unusual appearance, Luis's family supports his obsession. He uses his bizarre look to help make ends meet, with tourists voluntarily paying Luis to take a picture with them. But he says many people can't even look at him. Luis has been able to overcome these obstacles. He has a girlfriend of 2 years, and he hopes someday they'll have a family. In the meantime, Luis says he'll continue to work on his unique look. A look that won't be limited to his face. You see, he says he plans to eventually pierce his entire body. Every time an artifact is shipped to the Ripley's vault, it needs to be verified for authenticity. Take this, for example. Is it an actual mummified cat dating back 2,300 years? Or is it a poorly constructed piñata that somebody never got around to decorate? Well, there's only one way to find out. An X-ray. Then we can see if an animal's skeletal structure exists underneath these bandages. This X-ray confirmed that it is, in fact, an authentic Egyptian cat, disemboweled and probably buried with its owner, in strict accordance with ancient beliefs. Unbelievable? Believe it.
Having trouble finding the hole?
That was the scariest thing I've ever done.
Only those with the guts.
All right, let's do this.
Win the glory.
I did! I'm so happy!
Fear Factor on its new night, Sunday starting at 7, begins tonight only on Chiller. Scary good.
Scare Tactics is back with host Tracy Morgan, hosting back-to-back episodes.
Fear is funny.
Scare Tactics, tomorrow starting at 7, only on Chiller. Scary good.